All right. Hello. Today is Saturday. It is the 7th of February, and I am connecting with you. We're going to do a 3 card pull later in our video. So hang out for that if you're interested in seeing that pull. Today, we're going to talk about offerings, sacrifice, and altar devotion. So pull up a chair, grab your coffee, and let's chat a bit. Okay. All right. As most of you know, my name is Reverend Sosanna Olson. I am a key bearer and a torchbearer for the Coven of Hecate. I'm also the founder of the Sanctuary of Hecate Brimo. I am currently, hang on one moment, let me just get my monitor up here to make sure everything's recording successfully. Let's just see. Yes, we are recording. Okay. I am the founder of the Sanctuary of Hecate Brimo, and I have a web presence on Facebook and some other locations where I share information about my personal experiences working with magic, spirituality, and that sort of thing. Today, we are going to talk about offerings and sacrifice, as well as altar devotion. So when we think about our altars that we create, whether it be a working altar or an ancestor altar for ancestor veneration, what we're doing here is we're emphasizing a relationship and a reciprocity from where we're giving back to that energy that gives us. I'm trying to refrain from using any specific deity here, but you could, insert God here with whatever particular deity that you follow, whether it be Athena or whether it's Jesus Christ or whatever deity that you particularly pay your respects to. The altar is a place where you will, set up and make. I don't want to say donations, but it's kind of like that, right? It's where you will make your offerings to the gods, and those offerings are typically considered to be a sacrifice. And when we say the word sacrifice, a lot of people automatically start going down that path of, Abraham, right? In that situation, and I made that gesture. As many of you may be aware of the Bible story. Where a follower is asked that they sacrifice their favorite son in order to prove their devotion to their deity. The Bible story has been retold, and of course we've seen it across all sorts of other aspects as well, where you, in a time of plenty, you give your most cherished as a way to return. For me, personally, what I like to do is around All Hallows Eve or Halloween or October 31st, Samhain, whatever name you call it. That, for me personally, in my personal practice, is the new year. And what I like to do is I like to feed the spirits, right? So I have a Celtic background, so I embrace that particular side of it, and I will go out and put apples at the corners of my property in order to feed those spirits that may be traveling around, and maybe that'll appease them so that they don't leave any mischief for me. Now, I call that story out because when we're leaving our offerings out, I go and I buy organic apples and I put them out and I make sure they're beautiful and pretty, right? Because this is the typical sacrifice that you're making should be a sacrifice. It should be something that is precious to you, not something that's a throwaway, right? You don't grab your apples, or I don't grab my apples off the discount rack because they're spoiling and everything, and use those as my offerings. I try to use the best things that I can use. Some things that are used historically, and if you're interested, you can grab this book. This is a great book for learning and understanding household worship and setting up altars inside, outside, and how you work with them. So it's a really great book. It's the Hellenistic Polytheism and Household Worship. So I highly recommend this book. But it'll go through and explain to you how to set up and create those altars. And traditional offerings, which for Hecate specifically were often left at crossroads, is going to be food and drink. So let's talk about food and drink for a minute. Bread, grains, honey, wine, beer, and milk. So if we look at this particular offering that I made, let's see if you can see it. So in this case, I have a clove of garlic, I have a date, and then I have some coffee beans, right? So these are the things, while coffee beans aren't traditionally an offering, right? For me, how many videos have y'all seen me sitting here with my cup of coffee? I love coffee. We grind our beans. They're organic coffee beans that we grind every morning before the cup. So for me, this is something that I hold precious. So this is a perfect offering for me. There are other types of offerings that you can make. You can make incense offerings. So here I've got this nice temple incense that I love. I have this burning right now, and I do have this on my altar. And then you can also use other things. Like here's some other examples of different types of wood or grass that you can use as an incense offering. Oils are used, resins are used. That's again talking about the incense. You can do flowers, right? Over here on this part of my altar, you know, I have this bouquet of flowers that I put on the altar. And I put those there because I enjoy them. Who doesn't love getting flowers, right? I mean, unless you have allergies. But you can also do other things like handmade items. So if we look here, here's a few little relatively easy to make. I just made these out of polymer clay. These are little images of a deity holding up their arms, or a worshiper holding up their arms. And I make these just to place around and have on different altars, right? Different spaces for yourself. So the idea is that it is important to you, right? It's something that without it, you would feel a sense of loss, right? That's the whole idea of a sacrifice. So when we think about sacrifices, in many cultures, that the word sacrifice means different things. Most people, however, will use libations, setting aside of a meal, having a place setting for someone. There's several different ways that you can relay that setting apart or that separateness as showing as part of a devotional piece. Household altars were very common in Greek, Roman, Egyptian, Mesopotamian areas, and later folklore traditions. There's always a spot for the ancestors, right? So in ancestor veneration, we see everything from ancestor walls, where it's just a group of pictures that are put up, to an actual physical altar that's set up, and it has the photos of all the different ancestors who have passed away. And in some cases, people will bring things, like maybe you'll put, you know, your great great grandfather's favorite cigar or something like that, that would be placed in that spot in order to give that sort of give back to the ancestors. Okay, so let me move this over. Really, if you don't have these things, like you don't have the Indian incense, or you don't have the special, you know, bits of wood or what have you, you can really, it's intention, right? These are things that remind you that you're venerating or that you are giving back to that particular deity. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's required. If you're interested in an authentic, you know, Hellenistic structure, again, I recommend that book, The Household Worship, and that'll help you lay out exactly what those spaces are supposed to look like. So I hope that was helpful for today. I'm going to do a reading for you now. I think we'll pull again from River Witch. It's what we pulled from last time. Again, pointing out the hair tie. I've got that hair tie video for you to have a look at if you're interested in that. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do a 3-card pull and, take what you need from it. Our first card is the longleaf pine. And for those who aren't familiar, the River Witch Oracle is based on Southern spirituality with a focus on paying homage to the Indigenous cultures and the African cultures that played a significant, major role in developing this country. So again, this is the longleaf pine. Your key words for here are endurance, legacy, and renewal. The longleaf pine is the state tree for North Carolina, and my property is just full of them. They are a symbol of continuation, endurance, that legacy that happens, and of course renewal, in that they're there all year, right? You see those long leaves every year. So when we pull this card, we want to think about what's happening with us today. What is that piece that we want to carry forward? Our and I'm speaking as a U.S. citizen. Our country isn't in the greatest spot right now. There are a lot of things happening that are not where I believe that we should be going. So when I see this card, it reminds me that I need to sit down and focus on those things I want to become legacy. What do I want to see our future? How do I want our children and our children's children to look back on us and see, what did we do today? How did we continue our drive to become better people? So that's our first card. Our next card, is the River Witch. So we will hold that card up for you. The River Witch card is, the keywords for this are mystery, adaptation, and intuition. So when we think about those keywords, and we're doing just a basic 3 cards. So you put these in the order that you need them to be, as far as past, present, future, focus, tomorrow, next, whatever your particular 3 cards will be. I'm pulling them. This information is here, and it's for you to understand or to put to where you need it to be. Mystery, adaptation, and intuition. We are in a point in our lives, in our history, in our world, that we need to take some time to really focus internally and decide where we want to be, who we want to be, what we want to represent. Do we want to be a person who would be considered narrow? I went to the gym this morning, and as I'm on the elliptical, and of course the TV screens across the front, and they're blasting all the different talking heads. And I saw a comment that being liberal was a feminine ideology, which I found very interesting. Why does compassion and caring and understanding and wanting everyone to have access to clean water and to good food and to a home, why is that a feminine trait? Why isn't that just a human trait? As I digress, I totally didn't mean to go off in that direction, but what we're thinking about here is look at that intuition. Think about how you want the world to be, how you want people to be able to access the things that they need to access. What is this that you need to understand? What are you looking for? Another key word here is the mystery part, right? It goes along with that intuition. What are you, look inside and try to connect with that energy to get the answers that you need. Our last card today is Ruby. Let me hold that up for you. For those that don't know, you can mine rubies here in North Carolina. There's actually a little spot. It's a fossil museum. It's to the north and east of us, I believe, that you can go and dig for rocks and such. And they have rubies and emeralds, sapphires, and then, of course, shark teeth available that you can look through. So our keywords for this are affection, safety, and strength. Ruby is, I love rubies. I love rubies. I love garnet. The two of those together are very powerful stones to me. For some reason, it's what I'm personally drawn towards. But for this one, um, strength, safety, and affection, right? That's those key words. So look at what you're doing today. Look at that affection. Look at where it needs to go. Who needs to see it? Maybe it's self, right? Maybe you need to sit down with your incense and your candle, grab your cup of coffee, shut out the world for a little while. Stop doom scrolling, right? Get yourself centered where you need to be in order to be in a safe space, in order to be in a spot where you don't feel attacked or what have you. So those are our cards for today. I'm going to hold them up for you one more time. So there they are. And yep, there they are. Okay. And if you have any questions or you want to have some comments or some discussion around the poll today, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Continue to reach out to me directly. I absolutely love hearing from you. So you can send me those direct messages or, on the Facebook page. I love to hear from you. A couple of housekeeping items. I did move the Sanctuary of Hecate Brimo's main site. It is now off of the website. I will be looking at closing that website down. It's been a very difficult decision for me. But right now, the idea of continuing to fund a company that has questionable ties to political organizations is not something that I want to do. So I will be moving out of that completely. Sanctuary of Hecate Brimo is now only on Facebook. And then, of course, you'll be able to find me here on YouTube on the By Her Fires channel. So with that, I hope you have a glorious day today, and we'll talk again soon.